growth is happening in both directions, because as society learns to interpret the aesthetic of graffiti, it becomes accepted in museums, it becomes accepted in businesses, because we understand it now and we're therefore able to leverage it, right? I do work with major brands who have learned to leverage this art form. They realize the value in it and the impact that it has on the community.
All right, guys, we are back on the zoo with one of the coolest artists. I've covered him on other shows, although I don't know that we've had a chance to do an interview in person. Levi Ponce, welcome to the zoo.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Now we can get you have for such a young-looking guy, you already have like a big history of work that we can get into. But one of the things that you've done is you've transformed Boyle Heights. You've really led like the charge in transforming Boyle Heights and adding to that artistic flair that downtown LA and the arts district has had. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in Boyle Heights.
Well, first of all, it's not just me. It's the entire Boyle Heights art community. The entire Chicano community has come out to make these murals happen. I'm kind of the mural guy, right? I paint murals all day, every day. So I was kind of there just to make sure that the murals were okay. But as far as the artwork, I got to give it all to Boyle Heights. I worked with phenomenal artists there. My friend Ray Sepulveda from Cultivarte Studios helped me produce the project. A phenomenal artist by Tetris, who's out of the WAI graffiti crew, participated. The Cultivarte Collective, which is an entire family of artists out of Boyle Heights. So again, Boyle Heights has so much art. Like, I was just kind of there to make sure that the murals were what they needed to be. So we painted 3 different murals dealing with the musical culture. We painted with the culinary culture and a little bit just of people. I paint portraits myself, so I'm just inspired by people. And so all summer we painted, and we put up the 3 murals. We finished at the end of July, and it was just a phenomenal project. And I hope everyone loves it as much as we enjoyed painting it.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long does it take to paint a mural?
Like,
you know, because sometimes I look at those and I'm like, the work that goes into them, it looks like it would take like 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, it can take 6 months, it can take 6 years, and sometimes it just takes 6 hours. So it really depends on the situation.
Takes 6 hours.
Right. It's like I get it done by lunch.
Right.
Keith Haring's murals were a little quicker, right? Because it was just a little simpler, right?
Exactly. And oftentimes, you know, you just, you know, designing the mural sometimes takes longer. Sometimes something as simple as Keith Haring's work has years of development behind it, right, before we can actually get to the point where we just simply place it on the wall over a few seconds. So, you know, they're all a little different, but they're all very fun. And, you know, sometimes they're quick and I wish they were longer, and sometimes they're long and I wish they were a little quicker. But, you know, it's always fun, and we had a great time out in Boyle Heights this summer.
After you said that, I was going to say, what do you think I was going to say after you said the thing about the longer and the quicker and the quicker and the longer?
No, I don't know. What were you going to say?
That's what she said.
Oh,
Sorry, I did that during your segment. Go ahead.
Obi's one joke of the day. No, I was going to say, I'm born and raised in LA. And I remember, for me specifically, I remember seeing a lot of graffiti when I was younger, right? So maybe you can touch on the history a little bit of like these actual murals, because I feel like I was impressed when I started seeing murals around the, here in LA, but as you're saying, there's a big movement in Boyle Heights, that no one would tag over these. Like, people respect these murals, you know, and I think like that kind of changed a little bit. So can you talk about the history and how that movement began?
Well, it's interesting when we talk about graffiti, because it talk about, you know, just setting the kitchen on fire, because everybody has an opinion. It's a crime, it's vandalism, it's an art form, it's an expression, and you know what? All of them are right. All of it is true. Vandalism, art form, expression, all of it. So what happens in LA? Well, graffiti's always been here. Graffiti was there first. It's never going away. And the act of graffiti, I don't think, is a crime. It's an art form. People are looking to express themselves, and oftentimes people don't have the platforms on which to express themselves, so they go out and create one, right? And that's what we know as graffiti, as the vandalism, as the act of crime. But what I've been doing is I've been hanging out with graffiti artists. I was kind of a graffiti artist myself, and by being involved in this community, like, I never did this on purpose. I didn't say, hey, let's recruit a bunch of graffiti artists and make a project. No, like, these were my friends. When I got hired to paint a mural, I called my friends who happened to do graffiti, and we all went out and painted it. So what happens then? The mural doesn't get tagged. And, you know, after a few rounds, you realize, wait, it's not getting tagged because we're the guys who would normally go around tagging it, and so why would we tag it? And instead, we take care of it. We look out for it, we maintain it, we preserve it.
Yeah.
And so that's become a thing now. So I encourage everybody, wherever I go, wherever I paint, to involve the local artist community, and all of them. Don't shun away the graffiti artists just because they're painting in a way that you don't like.
Right.
If anything, you should provide an outlet for that energy, right? And when that outlet is provided and that energy is redirected towards something positive that everybody can enjoy,
They feel
oh,
included.
the results are amazing.
Well, that's what's happened with this movement that I think that you're a part of. We're actually beautifying our downtown areas now with murals. The businesses are actually encouraged, and the city is actually encouraging artists to do murals now. They'd rather have a nice mural than some sloppy tag. Let's be honest.
Of course.
You know, right? I'm from Miami, and you've probably been to Wynwood, right?
Of course.
And you've seen what? Do you have any pieces in Wynwood?
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. Awesome. Now, you've seen what happens when the city partners and saying, hey, look, let's make an arts district. And we're starting to see that now. I'm actually seeing the arts district in LA look like what Wynwood looked like 10, 15 years ago. So there's a beautification thing happening in downtown LA because of this movement with muralists, right?
It's true. And, you know, I think it's growth is happening in both directions because as society learns to interpret the aesthetic of graffiti, it becomes accepted in museums, it becomes accepted in businesses because we understand it now and we're therefore able to leverage it, right? I do work with major brands who have learned to leverage this art form. They realize the value in it and the impact that it has in the community.
I love what you said about how, you know, whether it's graffiti, that art is subjective, basically, is what you said by that. And I love the humor about how young you look. So I'm just curious, as a young kid, which was probably like 20 minutes ago, were you drawing on all the walls in your house? Like, why did you decide why murals and
That's
walls?
true. That's
you know?
like the large scheme of it.
I've been painting my entire life. My dad's a painter. My dad's been painting since San Salvador, 1954. He walked all the way to LA from San Salvador. It took him 6 years.
Wow.
He left with a box of brushes and paint, and he painted his way here. So I've been painting my whole life, and it's all I've ever known. It's a family business. My kids now draw on my walls. There's, you know, it's a cyclical situation. So,
Wow.
and who am I to tell them no, right? So you go
Right.
into my house, there's crayon everywhere, there's chalk everywhere. You know, who am I to? I'm gonna go paint on walls all day. You better not do it. You know, so it's
Right.
kind of like who's the crazy one at that
Oh,
point?
I
right?
would love to see the walls of your house, man. If I ever go over to your house, I'm painting something on one of the walls too.
Yeah, right.
But I won't tag over your kids' artwork. I'll
There
find a
you
little
go.
corner.
Respect, right?